assessment tutorial tutorial video, and we are going to look at faith versus free will, which is what we have been practicing and talking about in Macbeth. That's one of the major things, right? So, what we have to look at are 3 sources. We looked at 2 of them today in class. One of them is an article from NPR by Marcelo Gleiser, okay? And the other one is a poem called Fate by Carolyn Wells. The last one that we're going to look at, you're going to use to answer your prompt, is just several excerpts from the play, Macbeth, showing where fate versus free will comes into play, okay? So, whenever you get your cold read tomorrow, who can tell me what's the first thing you should do when you get your cold read assessment?
Analyze, or look at the question.
Yeah, it's the first thing you do, okay? Look at the questions, okay? You have 4 questions, and how many questions do you need to answer?
2.
2 questions, okay. You have 4 questions, so you need to pick the 2 that you're most comfortable with, okay? The 2 that you're most comfortable with. And so, once you know the 2 that you're most comfortable with, what is the next thing that you should do? Before you restate the question, yeah, so before we start writing the answers, we need to what? What do you need to write an appropriate answer?
You have to restate the question using textual evidence.
So how are you going to get to textual evidence?
From the story by analyzing.
Good, okay, good. So let's read this, because you can't really write the answer correctly, guys, if you don't have the correct textual evidence. So as we've done all semester long, we are going to, once we decide which questions we're going to answer, we are going to go through and quickly annotate some of this, okay? We're not going to really concentrate on the Macbeth one, because we know every single one of these is a quotation proving that fate or free will is used. What we're going to concentrate on are the poem and the article, okay? So what we need to look at is the prompt, okay? The prompt, the question, and what explains it. So if you look at it, it says, in William Shakespeare's Macbeth, one of the main themes, and a theme is what? A theme is what? What the story is about. And can a story have more than one theme?
Yeah.
Good, okay? And can a theme be described in just one word?
Yeah. It can be described in multiple words.
Yeah, it needs to be, because you can't really say, oh, that story is about friendship, can you? No, okay? It's much more complicated than that, okay? So, for instance, in our town, what's one of the themes in our town?
Y'all never take nothing for granted.
Good, and the bigger word for that is human transience, okay? Another thing would be what? The big theme. Appreciate what you have, and the bigger theme of the entire unit for our town.
Individuality of the community.
Yeah, good, okay? So, going back to Macbeth, it says one of the main themes that are presented throughout the play is fate versus free will. Is everyone clear on what fate versus free will is? Fate is what?
Something that's predetermined for you.
Good, something that's predetermined for you. That means no matter what you do, the ending of your life is already decided for you, okay? And free will is what? Yeah, it means you're deciding how your life's going to end up, okay? So, the reader, that's us, is asked to decide whether Macbeth has full control over his actions or whether all of them have been predetermined for him. One may argue, hey, what did I do right there when I used one? One may argue, what did I do right there?
Hello, when you do what?
What did I do when I used one may argue?
Well, it's got rid of the I.
Good. So I did that on purpose. Well, I did that because that's what you're supposed to write. But I did that to make sure y'all saw. Tomorrow when you write your cold read assessment, you're not going to use you. You're not going to use I. You replace it with, one may argue that Macbeth was destined to be king, but had free will over how to obtain a title. What does that mean? He was destined to be king, but he had free will over how to obtain his title.
He has no idea.
No, it means he was going to become king, but it's up to him to pick which path he takes.
Good, okay, because I know y'all have read it a year, and some of y'all might not have read it all, but, you know, we can talk about it. We're not going to get into that much detail, but he was going to become king regardless, right? But the path that he ends up choosing is full of what?
Drama.
Murder, blood, betrayal, right? So
Baby mama drama.
Yeah.
A lot of baby mama drama.
He could have chosen a different path, a path full of righteousness, because at the beginning of the play, he's a very virtuous person, right? He's one of the king's best soldiers, okay? And then the further down the rabbit hole, you could say that he falls, it gets worse and worse, okay? So, the prompt is right here. Using textual evidence from both of the texts, so it's telling you from both of the texts, do Marcelo Geisler, author of The Choice is Yours, The Fate of Free Will, or Carolyn Wells, author of the poem Fate, agree with how Shakespeare presented fate and destiny? Okay? Answers must be in proper TLQ and MLA format. Alright, so what y'all need to do now is go through, now that you know what your prompt is, you need to go through and annotate both of these to find your textual evidence, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start annotating. We're only going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to do that because I know we need to get through this, okay? So y'all can start annotating. What's the best way for y'all to annotate?
Circle words you don't know.
Circle words that you don't know. What else? Underline what? Underline the quotes. What would you do for any type of figurative language?
Star.
Star it and identify it, okay? Alright, so y'all can go ahead and get started on that.
Who's this?
Dude just was on the phone with me with the video, man.
I wasn't loud.
Okay. So what you're looking for is showing like when they start talking about whether or not people have a choice in things, okay? So everyone wants to be free, or at least have some choice in life. So it's saying right there, like they want to be free. That's the first one. So I would highlight that. We all have our professional, family, social clients. On the other hand, most people believe they are free to choose what to do from the simplest to more complex. Sure, call for whichever is student. Focus on writing sayings or nothing at all. Who should I vote for and election? Okay. Question of free will, question of agency, of who is in charge, or what. So that's just kind of explaining what it is, right? So it's going to talk about philosophers. But recent work in neuroscience is forcing a reconsideration of free will. So this is where it's saying, okay, now this is like a little different. So it's going to science. So I would probably like circle that, okay? Science. They consider free will to be an illusion. Now, that could be very good textual evidence because it's saying what his opinion is. They're considering free will to be an illusion. Okay? So start reading a little more and see if you can find any more textual evidence while I go and help other people. Okay. Someone got the poem yet? Let's go through the poem together. Two shall be born, the whole world wide apart. Because like people in my second block interpreted this poem differently. Two shall be born, the whole world wide apart. So they're apart. Speak in different tongues and pay their debts. In different kinds of coin and hand and key. Each to the other's being. So they don't know each other, right? Know not that each might suit the other to a T. If they were but correctly introduced. So what is that saying? If they would have been introduced the first time, they would have what?
Knew each other.
Well, they would have. What does it mean if you suit someone to a T? If they were like, hey Bailey, I want you to meet this girl. I think that you would suit her to a T.
You think she'll be your type?
No, they're saying you would.
Oh no, there will be.
Okay, but they weren't correctly introduced. Okay.
Wait, so do I get to meet a girl?
No.
Yeah, right after I give you that puppy. and these unconsciously shall bend their steps. Okay, so who annotated or got some textual evidence and got an opinion about the article?
Me.
The article. What you got on the article?
I got commercial things.
I got unconscious enemies.
Okay, so I got the poem. Okay, the poem. And what did y'all think about the poem? Do they share the same opinion about fate as William Shakespeare and Macbeth, or do they have an opposite?
I don't know how to read the book.
Wait, what you say?
From the poem. You just did the article, right?
Saying everyone wants to be free, but at least have some choices in life.
So you're doing the article.
Well,
Let's do the poem first, since they did that. Okay, so what is y'all opinion, overall opinion about the poem? Fate, free will, or what?
It's kind of like fate, because it's like they something on purpose, and if they would have met each other at the beginning, you know, each other would have been different than what it was when they didn't meet each other, when they were separated.
Bailey, do you agree? Okay, so does everyone kind of have the same ideas about the poem that this author, Carolyn Wells, believes in fate?
I actually believe in free will. I believe everyone has their own.
No. I'm asking you if Carolyn Wells is saying that. Okay, now what textual evidence are y'all going to use to say that?
We've fallen into each other's arms upon the provocative form, and this is fate. Boom.
Do you think?
Mic drop.
Do you think that that's the best one?
No.
Because remember, not only are we using textual evidence now, guys, we're using
Quotes.
the best textual evidence. Because quotes are textual evidence. Because we talked about using textual evidence, now we use the best textual evidence. Because this whole poem, talks about fate and the things that they did to escape or to eventually meet up in their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
But which lines do you think best shows? Which lines do you think best shows that it was their fate to meet each other?
They meet in
See, he's saying that they were born a whole world apart, and it was still their fate to meet. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like eventually, they met, okay?
No, I think not that each other might suit each other's teeth. Us to a T, I think that would be the best one.
Why?
Because it's saying, well, until they meet, they'll never know what each other's like or really who they are. But once they do meet, it's gonna be fate. It's fate that brought them together.
That's deep, man.
Been over the field.
It touched me too.
Been over the field.
So does that make sense what Jarrell just said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I would write that on the side or, put arrows next to it, okay? Good. That makes sense. So like I said, that is full of textual evidence that you have to use to substantiate the argument, but we're looking for the best textual evidence. Not just any textual evidence, the best textual evidence, okay? Now, those who annotated,